Today I'm going to show you how to make a real simple mead recipe. What does mead have to do with quail? Absolutely nothing. But the whole point of putting up the quail videos was to show you how to grow some of your own food, be a little more self-sufficient, self-reliant, to grow your own food, do your own things for yourself. I've been making a lot of mead lately, and it's delicious. If you've never had it, you should give it a try. Excellent stuff, and it's another thing that you can make for yourself. Spend less money at the store for your booze, and a little less money for the tax man as well. So, and just so you know, totally legal. It's not illegal at all. Lots of people make their own mead, and it's just like brewing your own beer or making your own wine. So you may be thinking, well, I've heard of mead, but man, it must be complicated. You must need a lot of special ingredients and equipment and things. And I'm here to show you that it's actually very simple, and you can get all the ingredients you need for your first batch right from Walmart. I can hear the mead purists screaming right now, oh my God, you need special honey, you need special yeast and ingredients. And look, if it's your first batch and you just want to try it to see if you like it, who knows, you might not even like it. So you're not going to want to spend $5 a pound for honey. Get all your stuff from Walmart. I'll show you exactly what you need and step by step how to make your first batch, and see if you like it. And if you do, and you want to get a little more specialized, there's all kinds of recipes out there for delicious, yummy mead. So first thing, let's go through the list of ingredients you'll need to get from Walmart. I got all of these at Walmart last night, and I'll break down the cost a little later and show you exactly how cheaply it is, or how cheap it is to make a batch of mead. So first you're going to need a gallon of water. You want a full gallon jug like this, not a bunch of little bottles, because we're going to use this bottle to actually brew the mead in, which is nice and convenient. I prefer the perfectly clear bottles instead of this milk jug style, but I guess they were a little low on inventory last night when I was at Walmart, but this will do just fine. So gallon of water. You're going to need 3 or 3.5 pounds of honey for this recipe, and so I got a 5-pound jug of honey here. You're going to need some yeast. This Fleischmann's Active Dry Yeast will be fine for this recipe. There's all different kinds of yeasts for different recipes. For this one, this standard stuff, again, from Walmart, will do the trick just fine. You're going to need some cloves, whole cloves, not ground, right? You're only going to need 1 clove for 1 or 2 for each gallon. So one of these jars will make you plenty of mead. You'll also need some cinnamon sticks. Again, cinnamon sticks, not ground. And the funny thing was, I found that these organic jars of cinnamon sticks and cloves were actually cheaper than the regular McCormick stuff right next to it. So anyway, you're going to need 1 large orange. Get the biggest oranges you can get, and we'll use that. You're going to need a handful of raisins. So I got 12-ounce box of raisins. Again, this will make you tons and tons of mead. And don't worry if you don't like raisins. Raisins are not there for flavor. They are simply there to feed the yeast when it's fermenting. So if you don't like raisins, don't sweat it. And also, bag of balloons. I got the 12-inch balloons, regular party balloons. Why do you need balloons for mead? Well, I'll show you that later. So that's it. I mean, real complicated, huh? Water, honey, yeast, cloves, cinnamon, raisins, and an orange. I mean, it does not have to be complicated, folks. So let's get into making it step by step. Okay, step 1. Get your electric kettle and boil some tap water. Straight up tap water is fine. And put your jug of honey in a pot like that. And pour the water in around the jug of honey. What we're doing here is we're just thinning the honey a little bit, so that when you pour it out of the jug, it's not so thick and it'll pour in easier. So this filled this up about halfway, so I'm going to boil another jug of water, pour it in here, and let it sit for a few minutes while I get everything else ready. and we'll go from there. Okay, so I put some more hot water into the pot, and the honey is nice and thin now, as you can see. It'll just pour a lot easier through the funnel into the gallon jug by doing this. And I guess I should have mentioned, you don't want to actually full-on boil water when you put it in here. Boiling water could change the properties of the honey a little bit. I won't get into all the specifics on that, but 150 degree water, 160 degree water will be fine. Just enough, just warm enough to thin the honey out so it's easier to pour. So that's all ready to go. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your gallon jug and pour about half of that into your kettle. Maybe a little more. Okay, that's probably good. And if you don't have an electric kettle, you could always just use your pot on your stove to heat up water. But these electric kettles make it a lot easier. So what you're going to need is between 3 and 3.5 pounds of honey in this water. So what we're going to do is put our funnel in the jug here, and we're going to weigh the jug of honey on the electronic scale here. And it's saying I got 4 pounds 9 ounces, so I'm going to want to pour it out until there's 1 pound 9 ounces left in the jug. So we'll just go ahead and pour some in here, like that. Let it all flow in. And this warmed up honey dissolves a lot easier into the water also, because you'll see in a minute here we're going to really shake this up really good and dissolve it in the water. Okay, we are down to 2.5 ounces, so I'll get some more in there. £1 13. Okay, we're down to 1 pound 6 ounces. Good enough. Between 3 and 3.5 pounds is fine for this. This isn't an exact science here. Things don't have to be absolutely perfect. So I'm going to let that drain in there really good, and we'll move on to the next step. While the last bit of honey is draining into the water through the funnel, you want to get every drop out of that funnel. You don't want to waste any. You're going to take your orange and you're going to zest all the peel off. I use a microplane here. I already did a bunch of the orange, but while you're waiting for that to go, just zest all this yummy goodness of the peel off of the orange, like this. What we're going to do is put all this zest right into the jug with the honey and all the other ingredients. It gives it that beautiful flavor. You don't want to get all that white pith in there, make it a little bitter. Some folks do actually just cut the orange in chunks and throw it in there, peel and all, with the pith. But I just prefer to do it this way. It's a little extra work, but I think it just comes out a little better this way. So get all that zest off like that. Beautiful stuff right there. And then just cut your orange into chunks and chunks that you can squeeze through the hole there. Maybe toss that part out. And then peel it like this. Just peel them all like that, and I'll do the rest of this off camera so we don't waste time. But just peel all of your oranges, get it zest, and the water that you put in the kettle from the jug, heat that up as well. And just let it heat up. Again, 150 degrees is fine, not completely boiling, because we're going to end up adding some of that water back in here. Okay, so we got our oranges cut up and zested, and most of the honey has been drained into this jug of water here. So what we're going to do is take a little bit of our warm water here and just rinse that out a little bit, get the last bit of honey to go down in there. Again, we don't want to waste any of this, right? So take that, put it aside. We're going to use that again later. Put your lid back on this jug, right? Nice and tight, and shake the hell out of it. Keep shaking it until all this water and all the honey, I mean, is dissolved into the water. You might have to shake it a good few minutes until it's fully dissolved. It's getting there. I can still see some settling on the bottom there. Okay, I'm going to call that good. Now, take your oranges and plop them in there. Just put them in there. They don't have to be tiny chunks or anything, or just big enough to get through the holes all. Get all these oranges in. This stuff is good. You're going to like this. Alright. Okay, oranges. Oop. Oranges are in. And take your funnel. And I'm going to put all the zest in. Let me get a knife here. Just put all your zest right into the funnel. And then we'll wash it down in there with most of the water from the kettle there. All right. So we've got our zest and our oranges. What you can do is take a knife steel like this and just jam it through. Of course, I washed it and cleaned it off here before I did this. So, nice clean knife steel, push it through the hole. Alright. And then take your water and fill this up until there's maybe 3 inches or so of space on the top. Like that. And then we're done with the funnel, so we can get rid of that. Alright. And then the raisins. All you need are 25 or so. Doesn't have to be exact, you don't have to count out 25, but you know, a handful of raisins. And these are food for the yeast. A little nutrient for the yeast. You don't get any flavor from the raisins. It's just nutrients. So let's take these, drop those in there. Throw a few more in there. Okay, give this another good shake. Mix it all up a little bit. And we are almost done. Alright, we are almost done with your first batch of mead. So, I Got the oranges, the raisins, and the honey in the water. Next, 1 stick of cinnamon. Pop that in. And you can use 1 or 2 cloves, or 1 or 2 whole cloves. I use 2 because I like the flavor of it. You could just use 1 if you're not a big fan of clove, but just drop those in. Then you drop in a teaspoon, just a teaspoon is fine, of the yeast. Okay. And then we're going to give this a nice gentle mixing here. You don't want to go crazy like we were doing trying to dissolve the honey. You just want to get everything kind of evenly distributed in there, the yeast. Okay. Like that. Gentle mixing here. And your mead is ready to ferment. So you see, we leave this couple inches of space up here because when the yeast starts to devour the honey, the sugar in the honey, it's going to foam up a little bit. So you want a little headspace here so you don't have foam spraying out of the top. You'll notice within a couple of hours to maybe a day, you'll start seeing the CO2 being released from the fermentation process, and it'll foam up to the top here. Starts looking really cool, and it gets pretty exciting when when it starts doing that. Okay, the final step in the process here is to simply take your balloon and put it over the top like that. What this does is keep any nasty stuff from going inside and fouling up the mead, and it also allows the gases that will be released from the fermenting process to escape. You'll see this stuff will start bubbling and foaming up, and it releases CO2, and this balloon will actually blow up. So if it gets real big and you think maybe the balloon will pop or something, you can just kind of take the side of the balloon like this. Well, I took it off completely, but when there's pressure in there, just take the side of the balloon like this and pull it off, and just let out some gas, and then put the balloon back on. So that is it. Take this, put it in a dark, relatively cool place. 70-75 degrees is fine, and you let that sit for 2.5 months, and it's basically done. You can let it age longer if you want. The longer you let them age, the better they are typically. So, but 2 to 2.5 months, and it should be perfectly clear. If the liquid is perfectly clear and everything's settled to the bottom, you'll see this layer of sediment on the bottom, and the liquid is nice and clear, then it's done. It's not going to ferment anymore. So if you wait long enough, even the oranges and everything will settle to the bottom, and then it's completely finished and ready to drink. You just siphon it out of here into some bottles and cap them up, throw them in the fridge, and they're good to go. One last thing about the process here. Once the fermentation starts, you'll see it foam up. There'll be a bunch of foam in this gap here, this headspace that we left, and it'll be fizzing and foaming really good. Once that settles down and it's just kind of a slow fizz, and there's no danger of it foaming up and coming out the top, you can actually peel this off the balloon and fill this up pretty much to the top with water, and it won't make any mess. But for the first couple of weeks, this is going to be going pretty vigorously. You'll see it going kind of nuts, which is a lot of fun to watch. So anyway, after a few weeks, when that settles down, feel free to just fill that right back up with just tap or room temperature water, and put your balloon back on, stow it away, let it sit, do its thing. Okay, there you have it. Easy Mead, Joe's Ancient Orange Mead. I don't know who Joe is, but the recipe's named after him. You can do a search online and it'll pop right up, JAOM, for Joe's Ancient Orange Mead. So you can see how easy that was. Anybody can do this, and once you get the hang of it, it'll take you maybe 15 minutes to get a gallon of mead done. And again, anyone can do this. It's not hard, it's not complicated. I do want to give some credits out to Jack Spirko at the Survival Podcast and Michael Jordan, the Bee Whisperer, both of which inspired me to start making mead, and I got a bunch of recipes and techniques from them, and everything's come out fantastic. So thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. So that's it. Cheers. Delicious.